And then deep breathing from the stomach. 5 breaths.
My glasses are fogged up. Hi, my name is Dean.
And I'm Cammie. And food for us means family and togetherness.
We both love to cook professionally and for fun, and we would like to share our Thanksgiving feast with you all.
For the menu today, this is what we have.
We have our roast turkey and gravy, and apple bacon stuffing, along with the citrus cranberry sauce.
And for sides, we have slow roasted yams, garlic mashed potatoes, bacon and Brussels sprouts, and a twist on the classic pumpkin pie with sweet potato and coconut.
So let's get started.
So this is what I take on a classic pumpkin pie with sweet potato and coconut milk. With the sweet potatoes, I simmer them so they're soft and added some spices, reduce on the liquid, and I mix together coconut milk and pumpkin puree. For the crust, this is my go-to crust, which is a simple ratio of 2 cups of flour, 2 sticks of butter, some sugar, salt, but the key ingredient is ice water and just to bring the dough together so that you'll get that deep flaky crust. And what I have here is I already cut the butter into small cubes, and it's really cold. And then I'm going to add in the flour and sugar and a little pinch of salt. And I always like to mix the dry ingredients first. So this is a key thing, it's a pastry cutter. This actually will cut the butter into small chunks and you just mash it. So this is what you want to see. It's coated with butter and this is what will give you the flakiness. Okay, now the key part is the water. I usually use about 1/4 cup of water, but all you want to do is put it in and start working the dough. It will feel dry, but that's actually good, and you don't want to overwork it. A trick I like to do is to reuse produce bags. I put the dough in, and it'll keep the mess down as I'm mixing it together. For pie dough, you don't want to overwork the dough, so just mix it until the dough comes together, and this will make sure that it's light and flaky. And chunks of butter in it is totally okay. So now this, it's a flattened disc. I put it in the fridge for 30 minutes. The orange color yams, they're called Diane yams over here on the West Coast. And you just peel them and then you cube them. And then you add in a little bit of water and then some spices. I have cloves, star anise, and cinnamon. And I love ginger, so a big nub of ginger. And one of the things I want to do with ginger is to crush it to release the aromatics. And I just simmer it on the stove until the sweet potatoes are soft. I like to use a ricer to puree potatoes. You can also use the back of a fork to mash them. Dark brown sugar, light brown sugar, equal volume, 1 cup total. 1 can of 15-ounce can of pumpkin, puree pumpkin. 1/2 cup of coconut milk, and then delicious reduction that we had earlier. And then you mix this until it's smooth and you add the eggs in after. And it's okay if it's chunky. I personally like to have a nice bite of yam in it. Okay, let's move on to the pie dough. So the pie dough was resting in the fridge for 30 minutes. And then what I like to do is roll it out, but I like to keep it inside the bag. I'll actually open it, put a little flour in, flip it around, add a little flour to the other side. And then I'm just gonna start rolling it actually in the bag. It keeps it very neat and tidy, and then you can actually roll it out pretty big. You wanna make sure that this dish is straight up and down, so you wanna make sure that there's enough dough in the corners. And I just use my hands to press the edges. Okay, so now we're gonna fill the pie. You have your filling here. I do like to let it sit overnight, but you don't have to. It just makes the filling a little thicker. This one, it won't rise, so it can actually go to the top of the edges. And then now this is ready for the oven. It'll go in at 325 degrees, 300 to 325 degrees for 1.5 hours until everything sets.
So next we're going to be making the apple bacon stuffing. The reason why we're starting with the stuffing before we cook the turkey is because we're actually gonna be stuffing the cavity of the bird with this bread mixture. Putting a hot stuffing into the turkey's cavity before roasting it makes for an even cook when we cook the bird. The ingredients consist of 2 French baguettes, preferably stale, but if they're not stale, you can toast them. About 4 apples, some celery stalks, onion, garlic, bacon, and some fresh herbs, sage, thyme, and parsley. We're first gonna start by dicing the baguettes into 1-inch pieces. Along with the onions, apples, and celery, they're all gonna get diced into about like 1/2-inch pieces. So we're probably gonna need like 5 cloves of garlic. So you wanna lay them flat, kind of smack them. They come out of the skin. You first wanna start off by rendering your bacon fat with a little butter. You wanna saute your onions, celery, and garlic until super fragrant, and you follow with your apples and herbs. You finish with your bread cubes and your chicken stock, and you stir until combined. And it is always important to taste your food as you go. Now that we're done with the stuffing, we're gonna go ahead and stuff the cavity of this turkey. And whatever's left over, we're gonna put into this baking dish, and we'll bake this off separately because it's always good to have leftovers, which we for sure will have after this. Once you start to roast this, you're gonna start to smell the sage, the thyme, all that bacon, which was also in the brine. And you wanna make sure you push it all the way back. Once that's done, just leave it like that. And the rest we're gonna put into this dish. You wanna make sure that you spray your baking dish with non-stick spray. We have a canola oil spray. And we wanna bake this for about 45 minutes to an hour at 375 or until the eggs have settled and a nice crust is formed on the top. And for the turkey, you wanna roast this at about like 375. Or you wanna roast it hard to get color on the outside for 15 minutes, and you wanna drop the temperature to 350, 375 and let it roast for about like 3 hours until the outside has become nice and golden brown and it reaches an internal temperature of 165. So the turkey will be done in 2 to 3 hours. Make sure to baste with a seasoned butter every 30 minutes. And make sure to baste the turkey one last time when you take it out of the oven. Next up, we're gonna be making a mushroom gravy. We're gonna slice up these cremini mushrooms. Once the turkey comes out, we're gonna be using all the juices and drippings from the roaster on the bottom of the pan, along with 2 quarts of pre-made chicken stock that we've had in the freezer. Normally people would thicken their gravy by using a roux, which is a mixture of cooked up flour and butter. But today we're gonna be making a gluten-free version, which contains a cornstarch slurry. So probably like a tablespoon of cornstarch to a 1/4 cup of water. Once our gravy concoction begins to boil, we're gonna add that in and thicken the gravy. But first off, I'm gonna start by slicing all these mushrooms up. I like to slice my mushrooms thin, about 1/8 of an inch. And I like adding mushrooms because it adds texture and umami. So to start your gravy, we're gonna do about like 2 tablespoons of butter. I'm gonna saute all those mushrooms we sliced earlier. Then you wanna cook these until all the moisture has evaporated on the bottom. Once your mushrooms have cooked down and all the liquid has come out, evaporated, you wanna go ahead and get your drippings and add it to the pan. Your drippings in and they're starting to boil, you wanna add your 2 quarts of chicken stock. You could add our season with a little kosher salt and black pepper, add a little sprigs of thyme. We don't wanna waste the turkey or the neck of the turkey, so we're gonna break it into 3 pieces and we're gonna throw it into that gravy just to fortify that turkey flavor. Well, I'd like to thank you all for watching our video. we had a lot of fun preparing this Thanksgiving feast for you all. And I hope you guys enjoy it if you were to try it at home.
So check out the description below for recipes and our handles on Instagram for more food content. I'm Cammie's Kitchen.
I'm Bastine. Thank you for watching.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.